Hey, 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 gorgeous. Oh my goodness. Wild hair today. Because it is crunch time, baby. It is the final weeks before issue 6 of the Unapologetic Woman Rempowerment magazine is coming out. And man, this one is special, is what I can say for you at this stage. It's going to be special. And so there's a lot going on behind the scenes, which I'm really looking forward to sharing with you guys moving forward. But I'm jumping ahead of myself, just explaining the wild hair. Hello, hello, hello. So if you are new to my world, hello, my name is Elle. I am the founder of the Unapologetic Women Global Empowerment Movement. And let me know in the comments, where are you based? Where are you dialing in from? And let's start a conversation. At the end of the day, this space for me is all about how do we start having richer, more meaningful, deeper conversations, starting where everybody else is ending. And if we know each other, say hi as well, because, well, it's always good to see my friends. And this is a very important conversation to be having at this time. So my recommendation is you grab a cup of coffee or whatever you like to drink and really listen to what I'm going to be sharing for you, because this could be life-changing. And I was going to talk to you a little bit about why we're even having this conversation. Because a lot of the times when I speak and share about things, it comes from a space of having a foundation already in place. And this is why my work is not for everybody and why it might seem confusing for some people. And this awareness was heightened again when I was chatting to our partner on the weekend, and he is completely new to the realm of personal development. He is just a profoundly wise person in and of himself without ever having to be exposed to the work that I do or other personal development professionals do. He is the beautiful embodiment of wisdom in the unapologetic male, is all I can say. But we were discussing how he's finding himself in a space where there are certain behaviors that would greatly benefit him, habits, so to speak, which, if he would form them, would transform his current energetic state and therefore his capacity. And why he's struggling to choose to practice these habits, these behaviors. And I get where he's coming from, because what I have come to understand in my 20 years as a professional coach and 50 years of walking on the planet is that we are conditioned, trained, showed how to approach life from one angle, which is the masculine angle when we start delving into it. And part of that is the forming of habits. Now, we all know and have read the studies and understand the chemistry of how to form a new habit in order for us to then get a new outcome. And for the most part, we can all do that. We can all practice that new habit for 66 consecutive days until there's a new neural pathway formed in the brain, and this is just our new normal. But maybe you found this and maybe you haven't. Some of those habits are just freaking hard to do. And we will do them for a few days, and then we will self-sabotage by not doing them, and then come down on ourselves like a load of bricks. Oh my God, seriously? Did I just self-sabotage again? What's wrong with me? Why am I constantly self-sabotaging? Oh my God, I must be blocked. I must not want it enough. Oh, let me get back to the drawing board and come on, Elle, you can do this, and kick my own ass, right? Or maybe that's just me, not speaking for anybody else. Just a little observation in most of my clients as well from 20 years of experience. But then I think back, and I don't do habit change with my clients anymore, by the way. I find that, yes, we can all do it and we're all resilient, and yes, we can all have determination, but there is an easier way. And that is what I now do with my clients, because that's how I now live in everything that I choose. Because it's hard, and it's still coming from, I have to prove to myself that I can do this. It's still coming from the fear frequency of mass consciousness. I remember, God, this must be 15 years ago now. 10 years ago? How old am I? I don't even know anymore. But at the time, I was a competitive cyclist. I was in my late 30s. And a friend of mine sent an Ironman video clip, little YouTube inspirational clip. And I was watching this. Oh my God, transfixed by these amazing humans doing this crazy ass event, and just thinking, oh my God, so cool, so cool, so cool. And then, and I so recall this, you guys, I was sitting in my dining room table in Johannesburg, and the sun was coming through. It was a really nice sunny day, and the walls were yellow. Oh my God, I remember it so clearly. And one of the competitors crossed the line, and the announcer said, "John, you are an Ironman." And in that moment, there was just this click inside of me, like this, oh, and I was like, oh my God, I was born to be an Ironman. I was born to be an Ironman. And I literally went online and I looked at when was the next Ironman in South Africa, and it was 4 months out. And I just took out my credit card and I entered without giving it any thought or consideration of what it takes to become an Ironman. I just knew I was born to be an Ironman. And then after I paid, I ran and had a spiritual poop and cleansed my bowels for days to come. Because the enormity of this hit me. Ironman is a 3.8 kilometer swim, followed by a 180 kilometer bike ride, followed by a marathon run, 42.2 kilometers. One event, and you only have a certain amount of time to complete it in. Now, at the time, I was doing 100K bike races. That is it. I couldn't swim. I was terrified of water after a near drowning as a child. And the furthest I had run was, I think, a 10K, 10K. I really struggled running. It was extraordinarily painful for me. And so I wasn't a runner. But I was born to be an Ironman, God damn it. And so I signed up, and then I got a training program online, and I went onto YouTube and I started watching YouTube videos on how to learn how to swim. And I started teaching myself how to swim. And I started the running program, and it was horrendously painful. My entire body just felt like it was breaking, and I would vomit from pain on the runs. And then started going to therapists and physios, and ended up in hospital, and them telling me, honey, you need a hip operation. You'll never do Ironman now. You can do the hip operation, and hopefully that will work out for you. And then maybe you can compete in a year or two. And I just kept thinking, but no, I was born to be an Ironman, and I saw the video now. It means I am now an Ironman. I am doing the event now. 4 months later, I crossed the finish line, 4 months after entering. Unheard of in the Ironman world or in the athletic world. In fact, when I did my second one, I started working with a coach, and he said to me, you can't call yourself a triathlete because you've only ever done Ironman. And I said, yeah, no, I'm not a triathlete. I am an Ironman athlete. That's all I am. And do you know that to this day, I don't run. I've never identified as a runner. I've never identified as a swimmer. I never did a marathon, ever. I did 3 Ironman events, never did a marathon because I didn't identify as a marathon runner. I only identified as an Ironman. And this is what I have come to understand, darling. It's the identity that matters. That identity switch from who you believe yourself to be to who you choose to be, who you know yourself to be on a deep, deep spiritual level. When we are approaching things from, I really want to do this, and I'm going to set a goal, and this is what I get to do, and I have to take massive amounts of action, and I have to have these habits. It's hard because we are pushing. We want to achieve the goal. When we embody the identity, the new habits, well, they're natural because they're part of the identity. And so therefore, there's no struggle anymore. You don't have to count 66 consecutive days because it's just who you are. And so that is what you do. And that's how you think. And this is what manifests. Your identity manifests. Oh, this is critical. Your identity manifests. Not your moods, not your emotions, not how you're feeling. The universe responds to your identity because your identity is the unconscious beliefs that you hold about yourself. So this is the work that I do with people. I support them in the identity calibration of who they really are, the greatness of who they are, whether that be a millionaire or a billionaire or an Ironman athlete or an author or a fempreneur or whatever it is. I support them in the calibration to the identity so that it's easy and so that they manifest as that identity. Identity switching is the key that changes everything in your life. And yes, there are layers to it. And it does require compassion with yourself. And the more playful you are about it, the easier it becomes. Because there's no space for self-shaming in identity switching. Because then you're still operating from the old identity and you have not switched. But this is how I do everything now. This is how I moved countries in unheard of time. It's how I manifested my divine partner like this. It's how I create everything. It's by understanding the identity of who I truly am and then calibrating to that, embodying who I really am, and then living as that woman. I eat as her, I think as her, I sleep as her, I make love as her, because I am her. And then life responds. Then life shows me the physical representation of the life of the woman that I choose to be. So I would love to know if this is making sense to you. And again, I'm not speaking to everybody, and you need to have some level of understanding of who you are and how your processes have been working up to this point in order for any of this to make sense. And again, be compassionate and meet yourself where you're at. Because if this is not making sense to you, then that's fine too. Tell me where you're at, and I can support you from that point. But if you are struggling with new habits, or you are just not feeling fulfilled by goals anymore, or any of those things, if you are just ready to be and you're just ready to kind of go, oh my God, yes, 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 it's time for a new way. I'm tired of being exhausted. I'm tired of being in my masculine drive all the time, because yes, you can achieve, but you cannot achieve and receive at the same time. So I observe people and I study people and I see that they have the same results, so to speak. But there's a difference between the women who are hustling and still doing it the masculine way. There's a hardness about them. There is a motivation about them, a push. I will show them, not judging, not criticizing, observing. And I used to be that woman, which is why I recognize her. And then there's the women who choose to allow, the women who choose to calibrate, the women who chooses to embody and to just live a freaking amazing life on her own terms, because she understands how it works. She understands how she is actually creating this life experience based on universal laws. And so we get to soften because we don't need the armor anymore. So wherever you're finding yourself is perfect. But what I am inviting is those women who are ready to start calibrating, to start up-leveling their identity for a life of ease and flow and fun and shenanigans and creative power that flows through you, to you, and from you, instead of having to exert yourself. So if that is you, then I invite you to book a consultation with me and let's see if and how we can play together. Because this shit is fun. And it's not as hard as what you think, unless you want to choose to believe that it's hard. If you think you're going to get a naughty badge because you've done something that's hard, that's your choice. I just don't play in that realm anymore. So let me know in the comments. Are you ready for an identity switch? And how do you feel about the idea that instead of having to practice a new habit, you can simply change your identity and allow the habit to just be your new habit because it's just part of who you are? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. All right, so that is me for today. I really hope that this has been of value to you. If it has been, please share this with other women so that we can start having these conversations in more and more spaces. And we can start supporting more and more women to regain that masculine and feminine harmony and balance, because that is how we are evolving consciousness at this time. And I'm not doing this alone anymore. I have nothing to prove. I don't have to be an independent woman. I would much rather be the powerful, interdependent woman that I came here to be and create massive change. So until next time, darling, have a sensational day further wherever you are in the world. And remember, it is time to express yourself without words. Cheers.